Welcome to the April Wellness webinar. I'm Laura Maloof Miller, Wellness Program Manager here at HealthNet, joined by Kristen Kayla. Just a couple of housekeeping items that we always go over at the beginning. That is, everybody's been muted. Also, at the end of the webinar, there's a really short anonymous survey, so your feedback is really appreciated. And if you have any questions during the webinar, please chat directly to Kristen. And just as a reminder, everybody who registered for the webinar will receive a link to the recording in just a couple of days. Okay, today we're saving the planet. So this is People plus Planet equals living sustainably. And our health is really deeply connected to the health of our planet. Yet we have these environmental challenges, everything from our changing climate to food systems that strain the ecosystems, and they're putting that risk, that balance at risk. But the good news is that small everyday choices can support both our personal well-being and, of course, the environment. So today, we're going to take a look at some simple, really practical ways to live more lightly on the earth while strengthening the connection between ourselves, people, and the planet that we all share. Keep in mind, the information provided in this presentation is intended solely for the general information of the audience. It's not medical advice and shall not replace consultation with your physician or other qualified health provider. If you have any health-related questions or problems, please seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider. All right, so this is the overview. So in this session, we're going to look at how our health and our well-being are interconnected to the health of our planet, and how the environmental threats like climate change, like single-use plastics, and our carbon footprint are affecting our food systems, our physical and our mental well-being. And I am going to highlight these challenges, as well as explore the simple, sustainable actions that we can do to support a healthier future for all of us. I thought it was really nice, really appropriate to put this slide in. This was a quote from Jeremy Hansen from the Artemis 2 that just did their lunar flyby this month. So he said, when you look back at Earth, you don't see borders, you don't see divisions, you see one planet, one humanity, all sharing the same home. And that's really what we're going to be talking about, is this home that we are all sharing today. Our health really does depend on a healthy planet. So sustainable practices like sustainable practices really help to reduce air and water pollution, which is going to lower our risk of respiratory and cardiovascular diseases. So the cleaner the ecosystem is, directly supports the needs of our bodies. And spending time in green spaces, this is going to help reduce stress, anxiety, depression. It improves our mood and our emotional resilience. Same thing with sustainable diets. So think about local, seasonal, and plant forward. This is going to boost our nutrition while lowering the environmental impact. Though, of course, this type of a diet does help to reduce the risk of chronic diseases, things like heart disease, obesity, and diabetes. And eco-friendly cleaners, so organic produce, natural products, these decrease our exposure to harmful chemicals. It, of course, benefits respiratory and our immune health as well. Things like extreme heat, though, poor air quality, the biodiversity loss that we are experiencing, these kinds of things are going to increase our physical and emotional health risks. But again, sustainability helps to mitigate these effects. So, what kinds of things can we actually do for our planet? Well, several things here. One is we can lower our carbon footprint, meaning we would be doing more walking or biking or choosing renewable energy. This is going to reduce emissions and improves the community air quality. Also, choosing reusable products, bulk shopping, composting, these things will decrease the landfill waste and, of course, plastic pollution. So we're thinking kind of minimalism and buying durable, eco friendly goods to reduce the environmental strain. Also, participating in local environmental initiatives. This is going to strengthen both the environmental outcomes and our community well being. I wanted to do a poll. So, of course, this is optional, but if you would chat us, you're going to chat us just the number. So, which of these habits best reflects how you support both your personal well-being and the planet? So number one is you choose meals that nourish your body and lighten your carbon footprint. Maybe you are number two, you're walking, you're biking, you're taking the stairs. Of course, all of this is good for your heart and great for the air as well. Number three, maybe you recharge in nature, boosting your mental health while appreciating our shared environment. Number four, maybe you're focused on a healthy home, healthy planet. You make cleaner choices. You have less trash, fewer toxins. The fifth one, maybe you are staying hydrated and you're saving water like a sustainability champ. Or number five, you're building those healthy habits that add up for both you and the planet. So just pick one number. Kristen and I, these are all private. So Kristen will read out a few of these, but just pick one number that you think is mostly like kind of what you do, supporting both your personal well-being and the planet. And then as, of course, this is optional, but as some answers come in, Kristen, if you could read off some of the numbers would be great. Just kind of see where people are.
I'm getting a lot of fours, a
Low
few,
waste warriors. Okay.
yep, and a few sixes.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Small steps.
okay, a couple ones as well. There's a three in there. There's a five, but yeah, so far mostly I would say fours.
All
Fours.
right. And that's great. So I mean, all of these are super, super great opportunities. There isn't a wrong answer here, but just kind of, some gives you something to kind of think about. And these are the things I'll be talking about today. Thanks for participating. Okay, so when we take a look at environmental issues, of course, they're deeply connected. They amplify each other, the impacts of each other. So solving them really is going to require systemic global action, sustainable resource use, and collective behavioral change. These are really, of course, very, very big environmental issues. And so these are the ones right now that we are facing and will continue to face in our lifetime if we do not get a handle on these. Rising greenhouse gas emissions. Now, this is causing record breaking temperatures and more extreme weather events worldwide. And you may personally have experienced some of that. Our global wildlife populations, these are dropping sharply due to habitat destruction, the climate change, and also pollution. Unfortunately, we are losing millions of forest land annually, and this is removing vital ways to get the carbon out of the environment, as well as accelerating the species distinction. And the emissions from our transportation, from industry, from energy production, this is contributing to millions of premature deaths each year. Not to mention the contamination and the overuse threatening our fresh water supplies. And actually, over 1 billion people lack clean drinking water. That's super sad. And hundreds of thousands of industrial chemicals are harming the ecosystems, our human health, by exceeding safety thresholds. And of course, with oil spills, we've got chemical runoff, we have overfishing, we are damaging our marine ecosystems and the coral reefs. Climate change. Okay, this really is the long-term shifts in the global temperatures and weather patterns. And all you have to do is watch the news to find out about this. But we're having more frequent extreme weather events. So as those greenhouse gas emissions, those are blanketing the earth. And so that is trapping the sun's heat. And so the warming of our planet, that is literally just one aspect of climate change. And really what's fueling this is the burning of fossil fuels for energy, for transportation, and for industry. Of course, the loss of the forests, the forests would normally absorb some of the carbon. So that's an issue, along with the high emission agriculture practice. And that includes things like beef and dairy cattle, the use of synthetic nitrogen fertilizers, and the burning of crop residues. So what are we seeing? We're seeing the rising temperatures and more frequent extreme heat. We're seeing stronger storms, floods, droughts, wildfires, melting of ice, and raising of the sea levels. As you can imagine, these changes directly impact our health. Air pollution contributes to those folks who have respiratory issues, while the declining water quality and disruptions to our food supply, well, that affects our overall well-being. These extreme heat and severe weather events further compound these risks, leading to damage of, we've seen on the news, homes, infrastructure, roads, bridges, of course, our local economies. Entire towns are wiped out. So what can we do? Basically, we really need to take a proactive approach, a long-term approach by preparing and planning ahead. We need, as a country, to invest in our infrastructure upgrades and emergency preparedness. We, as people, need to shift to more clean, renewable energy. We need to use our energy more efficiently. We also need to protect and restore our natural ecosystems. We need to choose sustainable daily behaviors, but we also need to educate ourselves, and we need to use a variety of channels to be able to reach and engage diverse audiences. When we start to talk about food systems, so the global demand for meat is projected to rise 50% in the next 25 years. So if we could shift away from animal-based foods, that would be part of the solution to the climate crisis we are in now. It's estimated that 1,800 gallons of water go into 1 single pound of beef. And actually raising animals, all kinds of animals for food, that actually takes up half of all the water that's used in the United States. Of course, beef requires 20 times more land, whereas if you're growing plant-based meat, that uses up to 99% less water than conventional meat. So what could we do? If we could eat a little bit more of a plant-based foods, that would certainly help with the greenhouse gas emissions and help to fight climate change. So there are things that we can do on our daily basis. This is really interesting slide. This is talking about just the one effect of climate change, in this case, heat on our human health. It turns out, when you go to sell your house, location, location, location. Well, the same thing with this. It turns out that your location really does matter. There are some neighborhoods that experience higher temperatures, and that's due to fewer trees and more pavement. These areas could be several degrees hotter than the others. So if you live there, you're going to have increasing heat exposure and risk. Sometimes folks live in older homes. I've always wanted to have a Victorian home, but older homes, they can be actually harder to keep warm or cool. And not everybody can afford to upgrade their homes. There are social and racial factors as well. So certain populations are going to be more vulnerable to extreme heat because there's unequal access to things like healthcare, cooling centers, and other protective resources. And if you are socially isolated, you maybe are in a rural area, that of course continues to limit your access to cooling centers and assistance during these heat events. When we also consider the compound risks, such as heat risks are amplified when they're combined with other stressors, such as like the power goes out. You've got a power outage, or maybe your area where you live is experiencing the rolling blackouts, other public health emergencies, or infrastructure failures. So these overlapping challenges, this of course increases the likelihood of heat-related illness and harm. And then we can't forget about economics. This plays an important role too. High energy costs or housing conditions can make it really difficult for people to afford to cool their home or even use their air conditioning. And then we have buildings that are maybe old or they're poorly maintained. These are going to potentially trap heat and offer less protection during extreme temperatures. So we have some issues going on, especially with the heat. Well, who's most at risk to the climate change? Well, those that don't have enough, like insufficient funds to move out of the area or even fix up their home. Folks that have chronic diseases. So long-term climate change does negatively impact that population of people. As you can imagine, the very old, they're very young, and also pregnant people are most vulnerable. Outdoor workers. Think of the person like in construction or the person who holds the sign that tells you to stop or to slow down. We have not had to experience this level and this of like the hot days, very hot and extended periods of time. Those folks who are unhoused, they are exposed to the elements. That itself is a health risk. And so when we have these severe weather events, they actually may be displaced from where they've been staying. So that, of course, is an additional upheaval, which makes them really a vulnerable population. And then if you happen to live outside of the city, maybe you live 30 minutes away from services like hospitals or grocery stores. We experience an ice storm or a hurricane. It may actually collapse roads, dams, things like that, making it impossible. But you're cut off. So you can't get water, food, or electricity. And things like our single-use plastic, so everyday items like those plastic bags or straws, those seem really harmless, but their widespread use has fueled a global single-use plastic crisis. This harms our environment, our human health, and of course, our wildlife. Now, these fossil fuel-based products, they're contributing to pollution through toxic emissions when they're burned. They're contaminating our ecosystems, and they're, of course, threatening our marine life. The animals, they're ingesting these and they're getting entangled in them as well. I had a little note on the slide about Coca-Cola, but large corporations do play a significant role in driving this plastic waste, though some are beginning to explore reuse and refill solutions to reduce their impact. So I want to show this quick 3-minute video about the problem with single-use plastics. A second as it's coming up.
Welcome to a special video about single-use plastics. Today, we're going to explore the dark side of these seemingly harmless materials that have become an everyday part of our lives. Join me as we uncover the devastating impact single-use plastics have on our environment and the beautiful creatures we share this planet with. First, let's understand what single-use plastics are. They are products designed to be used only once before they are thrown away or recycled. Think of items like plastic straws, water bottles, cutlery, and grocery bags. Although they seem convenient, they come with a heavy environmental cost. The production of single-use plastics begins with the extraction of fossil fuels, such as oil and natural gas. These raw materials are then processed to create various types of plastic resins. The resins are molded into the plastic products we use daily, consuming a considerable amount of energy and generating pollution in the process. The production of single-use plastics is energy-intensive, releasing large amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. These emissions contribute to climate change, further exacerbating the problem. Disposing of single-use plastics is no easy feat. Many plastics end up in landfills where they can leach harmful chemicals into the ground. Others are incinerated, releasing toxic pollutants into the air. A significant amount of plastic waste also finds its way into our oceans, threatening marine life and ecosystems. Unlike organic materials, plastics do not biodegrade quickly. Some types of plastic can take hundreds of years to break down, persisting in the environment and causing harm to wildlife and ecosystems for generations. Animals can become entangled in plastic waste or mistake it for food, leading to injury or death. Microplastics, tiny plastic particles, have also been found in the food chain, posing potential risks to human health. The environmental impact of single-use plastics is undeniable. It's time for us to reconsider our reliance on these products and find sustainable alternatives. By reducing our plastic consumption and supporting eco-friendly initiatives, we can help protect our planet for future generations. Let's make a change together. Start by sharing this video and raising awareness about the harm of single-use plastics. Remember, every little step counts.
Sorry about that. I wanted to be able to expand my screen there, but for some reason I couldn't. I do have one other video, and I'm hoping I'll be able to do it at that one. All right, so we took a quick look at that. And so our carbon footprint. So our everyday actions influence our carbon footprint. And it's shaped by the choices we make in 5 major categories: how we move, how we power our homes, what we eat, what we buy, what we waste, and our lifestyle decisions. So how we get from place to place, this is often the biggest contributor to personal emissions. We also take a look at the energy that we use to heat, cool, and power our homes. This also has a major effect. And the food that we consume, especially how it's produced, that can account for a significant portion of our footprint. Same with our purchases. Every product we buy has a footprint. This is from extraction to manufacturing to shipping and to disposal. And how we deal with our waste also shapes our footprint. And then lastly, our lifestyle decisions, such as, oh, a bigger home. So a bigger home, larger home is generally going to use more energy. From that to even banking, our banking and our investing. Some financial institutions invest in fossil fuels and others do not. So you just want to be a wise consumer. And of course, our dietary patterns, even just shifting to one or two meals a week that are more planet friendly can really help. So let's take a look at how we can live more sustainably and lessen our carbon footprint. Oh, here's a chat. This is another poll. So before I get started, just pick one from the list and chat us that number. Maybe you're doing all of these things and you're working on, or maybe you're just working on your sustainability habits, but just pick the first one that comes to mind. Excuse me. Do you turn off the lights all the time? That is definitely me. Reuse bags. They become part of your family. Are you choosing planet-friendly products? Or are you supporting community or environmental causes? Or maybe you're still working on your sustainability superpowers. So these, again, are private, just to Kristen. So just text us the number, chat us the number. It's, of course, optional. But if you'd like to participate, we'll read off some of the numbers.
Hi, Laura. So far, I am getting quite a few number twos. I do have a few ones as well, and then a couple threes. But yeah, mainly two. Oh, there's a four.
Okay, great. Of course, this was no right answer as well. I was just kind of curious as to what people are doing. But yeah, I always seem to be going around my house turning off the lights. Well, thank you so much for participating in that. I appreciate it. So how we get from place to place, like I had said, is one of the biggest contributors to our personal emissions. So we are going to increase our impact on the environment when we drive gasoline or a diesel vehicle daily for commuting, when we happen to be on frequent flights, airplanes, especially really long flights, and when we drive solo instead of carpooling. So what could we do? We can walk, bike, carpool, take public transit when it's possible. Right now, with the gas prices, I am absolutely grouping my errands so that I don't make multiple short car trips. I'm grouping my errands. You probably are too. It's really good to maintain your vehicle so that it runs efficiently. And if you happen to be in the market for a new car, possibly thinking about choosing electric or a hybrid vehicle. All of these things would be good for our environment. What about our homes? Making sustainable choices at home can really improve comfort, protect our health, and reduce our environmental impact. Some quick, simple things that you can do: sealing or restoring drafty windows, using using energy efficient lighting and appliances, adjusting your thermostat, even enrolling in the renewable energy programs. This can significantly reduce our energy use. Also, inside your home, choosing eco-friendly flooring, furniture, paint, and using non-toxic cleaners. That's going to help lower the indoor pollution, while composting reduces our landfill waste and the greenhouse gas emissions. So even it's summer's coming, so sustainable yard care. If you raise the cutting height on your lawnmower during the really hot months, that helps to conserve water and supports healthier landscapes. That's because the grass being just a little bit longer helps to keep that moisture in the grass. So really quick, simple things you can do. What about when we're eating? So of course, our carbon footprint, we increase it when we eat a lot of beef or dairy, when we waste food, or when we're buying foods that come from far away or they're highly processed. So we can reduce our carbon footprint when we eat more plant forward meals, even just a few times a week. If we choose seasonal or local foods, like from the farmer's market, that helps to reduce long haul shipping. We can store our food properly. That helps prevent spoilage, having to throw things away, before you have an opportunity to eat them. And then composting food scraps instead of throwing them away. Now, on the slide, there are some links. These are excellent, reputable, plant forward and plant friendly websites that you can explore, especially if you're going to try to do this for the very first time. They're going to offer recipes, practical tips, educational resources, and science-based guidelines on how to eat more plants to help the planet. Oh, you got to see this. So the other day I was watching Shark Tank. And so this company came on, it's called Nude Foods Market. They pitched their grocery store. This is a zero waste grocery store where the products are sold in reusable or sustainable packaging. Now, this one is actually located they have two locations, Denver and Boulder, Colorado. But I really think this has already probably taken off. So you could potentially find this in your neighborhood as well. So I'm going to play this quick video and I'm going to see if I can get it on the full screen.
Welcome to Nude Foods Market. You can either shop in-store in our Boulder or Denver locations, or you can order online for local grocery delivery in Boulder and Denver at nudefoodsmarket.com. And you can order certain items for national shipping on our website. Grab a cute little basket, or if you want to buy more, there's a cart. Then just shop like a normal store. Everything we have comes pre-filled, so you don't have to do any of the work. There are multiple different sizes, so grab whatever you need, and off you go. It's that easy. But if you do feel like refilling yourself, then all you have to do is grab a measuring cup, refill to the level that you need, and then put it in your own container, or just use one of ours.
You can shop for all your groceries at Nude Foods. We've got produce, snacks, fridge and freezer items, prepared meals, pantry staples, sustainable home and body care, and much, much more. Plus, we have the most delicious fresh baked bread you've ever tasted.
And then you just check out just like a normal store. Hi, Lauren.
You all set?
Yeah, thanks.
Perfect.
The one difference with Nude Foods Market is that instead of putting your food packaging into landfill when you're done with it, you bring it back to us to be reused hundreds more times. It's really easy. When you bring your empties back, all you need to do is pop them in here, and we handle the rest. If you're a Nude Foodie member, then you don't need to count them in or out. It's really simple. If you're not a member, you pay a $1.50 jar deposit for every container that you use, and then you count the ones you return, and you get $1 back to spend in store for every single one you bring back.
So anyway, I thought that was super cool. And so that may be in your neighborhood too, but wouldn't that be great if this really took off and put other stores maybe out of business? But anyway, I just thought it was a really great opportunity to impact the environment with our shopping. All right, everybody pretty much knows about this, saving water. And you're probably already doing a lot of things due to the drought, but of course this helps to save the planet as well. So the average American takes a shower that's 8 minutes long, And so that average shower head is going to use 2.5 gallons of water per minute. So that's about 20 gallons per shower. So even if you could shave off 3 minutes off your shower, that of course is going to help reduce water as well. If you can insulate your hot water pipes so that you'll get hot water faster, avoiding all that wasted water while the water heats up. And using a broom instead of hosing off your outdoor walkways, that's going to save about 30 gallons for every 5 minutes that you don't use the hose. And also those water saving shower heads. So a low flow water saving shower head can reduce an average family's use by 2,900 gallons a year. And then minimizing the use of your garbage disposal. I didn't know this, but garbage disposals use about 8 gallons of water per day. So if you could reduce the use of your garbage disposal, you could save anywhere between 50 to 150 gallons of water per month. And then anytime you're going to use the dishwasher or the washing machine, make sure those are always full loads. Using a full dishwasher will save anywhere between 15 to 45 gallons. That's actually in the washer, and anywhere from 5 to 15 of gallons in the dishwasher. So always do full loads. And our waste. So how we deal with our waste really does impact our footprint. So higher emission habits, these are things that are not so good, are going to be using, the landfills for our food waste, throwing away recyclable materials, and buying single-use plastics. So it's better to follow your city's guidelines and recycle correctly. If you can, compost those food scraps if possible. If you have some items, it's better to either repair them or donate them instead of just throwing them away. And as we just saw, repurposing some containers, things like jars, tins, boxes, use that for storage or organization, and choose reusable items such as bottles and water bottles that you can reuse, or bags or containers. You can also participate in electronic recycling, so donating your work computers, tablets, smartphones. This, of course, helps out schools, gives them access to valuable technology while keeping the electronics out of the waste stream. Extending device life, this is going to reduce our environmental impact, but just be careful. You need to make sure that you protect your personal data on those devices before donating them. So wipe those clean. And then what about our closet? So every product, as I said, has an environmental footprint from the production of it to its disposal of it. And so if you're doing frequent purchases or fast fashion and excessive packaging, that really can increase the impact. So what we should do really is choose more durable, high quality items. Of course, they're going to last longer. Repairing your items instead of replacing them, shopping secondhand, or selecting minimal or recyclable packaging can significantly reduce that waste. And this helps to keep goods in circulation. You could have a yard sale, do a clothes swap. I remember doing that when I had small children. Grew out of everything so quickly. You could put things at a consignment store. You can, of course, donate things that will help extend its product life. And this is going to help reduce the landfills and support more sustainable consumption. So think about different ways that you could do this. Oh, here's for reducing plastic use. So always use one of those reusable bags when you're shopping. And cooking more often and storing the leftovers in your freezer. That's going to help reduce those plastic heavy takeout containers. Also, if you can, try to avoid those individually packaged goods like snack packs. If you're out and about, think about bringing a metal or glass reusable straw, and bring also the reusable cutlery and that's helps for the sustainable eating on the go. If you have the ability, you could speak out in support of local plastic bans. That's whether calling your local government representative or simply having a conversation with your neighbors. Also, it's important to let companies that make your favorite products know that you care about the packaging. So maybe post on social media, call or send letters to these companies asking them to switch to more reusable or refillable, recyclable, compostable, renewable, and recycled content packaging. I was in Sam's Club the other day, which is like a Costco, and I bought a thing of flowers. Yes, they came wrapped in plastic, but the other bag that I used to take the flowers out of the store, I noticed was in paper, recyclable paper. Excuse me. So I appreciated that. Microplastics. Okay, these are the little tiny particles that are everywhere. They're in our air, our water, our soil, our food. They've even been found in remote environments. They're also showing up in the human body, which is raising, of course, concerns about the potential harm to our body systems. When we're drinking bottled or plastic packaged beverages, this leads to much higher microplastic intakes. And so studies are showing that increased microplastics in the bodies of people who are consuming those plastic packaged beverages. And heating plastic containers is also going to release particles and chemicals. So if you happen to be heating your Tupperware in the microwave, you need to, for sure, place that in a glass or a ceramic dishware before microwaving it. If you think about your kitchen, there is plastic everywhere. Cutting boards, bowls, small blenders, even those plastic sponges, those can introduce the microplastics into our food. So what you want to do is look for stainless steel, glass, ceramic, and the non-plastic sponges. Think of steel wool scrubbers, and think of even the dish brushes that have non-plastic bristles. Even non-stick pans, such as Teflon, can release millions of microplastics when you use them. So again, look for stainless steel, cast iron, or ceramic. Okay, this is scary. In the United States, the use of the microplastics in rinse-off items, think of body wash, think of toothpaste. Now, luckily, that has been banned. But manufacturers can still add them into the same types of products, such as lotion and lipstick. So even with rinsing off your lotion, lipstick, these little tiny, tiny, tiny plastics can remain on your skin. So you want to look for products that advertise they do not contain microplastics. Earth Day is coming up. This was super great to have this presentation today because it's next week. It's April the 22nd. Now, this began in 1970 as a U.S. environmental teach-in, but it has grown into a global movement that is engaging over 1 billion people worldwide. And so it's really about raising awareness about environmental protection, encouraging action through cleanups, education, advocacy, and community initiatives. So it really serves as both a celebration of the planet and as a reminder that protecting our environment requires an ongoing commitment. Now, as I close the presentation today, I just wanted to remind you that even just one small change can make a big difference. Maybe think about trying a plant-based meal or skipping the single-use plastics. Maybe you should recycle more, unplug your electronics overnight, repurpose or donate something, even just learning more about your environmental footprint, or maybe participating in an Earth Day activity. Lots of different things that we can do to impact our environment in a healthy way. Now, thank you so much for your attention today. These next slides really are on the programs that HealthNet members can use to build or maintain their healthy habits. And really to find all of this, all you need to do is log in to your HealthNet account. We have a health risk assessment, takes about 20 minutes to complete, and it's going to give you your health status in key areas such as nutrition, exercise, emotional health, even financial well-being. Ours is called the Real Age Test. So if you are not a HealthNet member, just check with your health plan for a similar offering. And health coaching, a lot of times when we go to make some health changes or lifestyle improvements, it's really great to have the support. So a health coach can help you with that. Craving to Quit. This is our tobacco cessation program. It's designed for users who are ready to permanently break their addiction to tobacco. And if you're in California, you also have access to Kick It California. That's a free program as well. Our diet changes, so maybe, you want to try to eat a little bit more plant-friendly. Eat Right Now, this is a program for our HealthNet members. It really talks about mindful eating, and it really focuses on those healthy eating habits rather than dieting. We know that life is stressful, so Unwinding is actually open to everybody, offers some tools, videos, and modules that help build resilience and to decrease chronic stress. Again, program is open to everybody. And we have discounts for our HealthNet members. We offer Weight Watchers. We offer discounts to the chiropractors and acupuncture services, even hearing aids and screenings. And what's pretty popular is our fitness club discount called Active and Fit. And we always have online health challenges, again, open to everybody. So every month there are multiple challenges on things like stress, steps, and sleep. For HealthNet members exclusively, in the month of May, we've got, which is Mental Health Month, we have Stress Less. And next time in May, we actually have 2 webinars. We have the 3rd Wednesday of the month. We have the Power of Resilience. So we know it can be difficult to be resilient when, life changes and we have transitions. So in this webinar, we're going to discover ways to navigate change and learn 3 steps of resilience. In addition, we are offering a special webinar on women's health. So that's going to be on May 7th. This is going to talk about the latest updates. So it's relevant updates and practical guidance to help support informed health decisions. So hopefully you will join us for one or both of those. Thank you again for your time today. Again, everyone who registered for this webinar will receive a link to the recording in just a few days. I thank you for your time and feel free to exit the webinar at this time.